those who don't know me, I'm Daniel Cowan. I'm the founder of Big Star Lights. This is one of my most favorite topics we're going to discuss today, which gets to the underlying reason why people hire Christmas light services. Often the customer doesn't even realize the real reason, but that they're buying the service. But if you understand it, you'll be able to offer the service in the most meaningful way, leaving the customer feeling good, obviously, and more inclined to choose you. So we'll cover what emotional buying is, what's going through their head, and compare some differences between residential and commercial. Then we'll discuss each of their emotional triggers. This will be followed by sales strategies that positively tap into these triggers. And of course, we'd be leaving money on the table if we didn't actually seek opportunity to leverage the emotions to decorate just a little bit more or offer a more premium product. Lastly, we'll discuss how to handle the objections, use empathy, and close the emotional sales. Finally, we'll close with some tips and take some questions at the end. This is the first time we're running this strategy session in our new community. It will officially be launching in June, but I encourage you to register at community.bigstarlights.com. It's completely free. You'll have access to biweekly community calls where you can ask questions, gain valuable insight to the industry, and discuss topics with peers and seasoned professionals. Please note that you have to be registered in order to ask questions in this session. So if you aren't already registered, but I still have a question at the end, feel free to send me an email, which is just daniel@bigstarlights.com. And if you are registered, just go ahead and type in your questions and we'll review them at the end. So let's get started. Emotional buying is when the customer's feelings rather than logic drive the decision to purchase. With Christmas lights, people aren't just buying bulbs or wire, they're buying an experience. Perhaps it's a memory or a feeling. For both homeowners and businesses, the real product is the emotional impact, which could be joy, nostalgia, pride, excitement, maybe belonging. So we need to help customers visualize the after. They need to know the outcome before it even happens. Our duty is to connect the dots for them so that they see a clear path with zero effort. Um, you should be able to outline your simple process in under 10 seconds. Offer simple quotes and ensure there's zero friction in your process. And remember, it's not the lighting outcome that they care about, although they may think that's what they care about. It's really about the feeling that they're going to get when you are finished working together. So let's look at a few photos and tell me how they make you feel. This is a photo of a home. How does everybody feel about this photo if I said their decor could look like this? Not bad. Nice. Maybe, and I don't know if you can write in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10. Can we see comments on here? I think we can. Well, I'm gonna just go to the next slide here. How does everybody feel about this photo on a scale of 1 to 10? Same house, the lights are a little bit different. There's some people in there. Most people would score this higher because people are starting to visualize themselves in this photo. You're starting to connect a set of dots for the customer. Okay, same house, only now we've got faces. This one typically will score higher because their faces exuberate a feeling that your customer will inevitably feel if they choose to work with you. You've connected the dots essentially, and from the initial contact to the final feeling that they're going to get when they're finished working with you. Now, emotional buying isn't just for residential customers. This product, or this project, I should say, was a municipal project that started out with maybe about, I think, 800 strings, over 20 blocks or so. And then after the first phase of the project, the BIA and even commuters that travel this stretch of road started to get emotional about it. They were excited and nostalgic, and praising the decision makers who were councillors and other top brass in the city. They were commenting in social media even. And guess what happened the next year? Another 700 strings were added to the project. And the year after that, another 500 strings. In the meantime, we ended up decorating 2 other BIAs exactly like this, all being referred to us from this one job. And so these are the 6-figure contracts that change the game in your business. We interviewed the public about what they feel about Christmas lights. This was, I think, a year ago, and or 2 seasons ago. And here's some of the things that they said, and I'll play this.
I love Christmas lights so much. They're beautiful and they just light up neighborhoods.
I love Christmas lights. My favorite time of the year.
Like Christmas lights?
Love Christmas. Yes, love Christmas lights.
I love hot chocolate in winter night.
Well, I love Christmas lights.
Yeah?
Yeah, who doesn't?
That's the question, right?
They're okay.
Why just okay?
With Christmas lights, there needs to be also like Christmas cake.
You need all the festivities.
Exactly. The family, the like hot chocolate and everything.
The complete experience is nice, but for me, just walking around and seeing the Christmas lights alone does the trick.
When you look at them, you kind of just feel like a kid again. You just feel happy and joyful and the spirit of Christmas inside of you, and the lights really bring that out.
Especially when it's like Taylor Swift themed, it's like taken up like 10x.
It's not about Christmas lights anymore. It's about Taylor Swift lights.
Oh yes, it is.
Lights in the nighttime and also in the morning bring peace. I love the idea of just gently greeting the day in the darkness to bring that light. And I love it at night because it sets the ambiance, doesn't it?
Sure does.
They make the holidays so much more special. Winter can be really dark, so it's nice to have some light.
All right, so clearly this was last season, actually, when Taylor dated with Taylor Swift there, obviously.
I love Christmas lights so much.
Pause that there. Get next stage. Okay, so we just wanted to kind of get some public input on what they thought about Christmas lights, and there are definitely some key motivators there. Nostalgia is one of them. It reminds them of their childhood, as one of the interviewees said. Pride, joy. There's an element of keeping up with the Joneses. There's the convenience, trust, and there's a safety element around it. But do you know what will take all of these emotions to the next level? If the decision maker has the ability to make other people feel these emotions, in particular family and friends, you know how often, like for example, you know how often when you donate or give that you always seem to feel better than the person receiving, right? Well, that's because you've become a hero in that story. And the same thing happens to the decision maker who is setting in motion a beautiful Christmas light display by hiring you. They've been able to connect the dots and clearly see a path forward toward making their loved ones feel these emotions. They will essentially be the hero, the customer, but don't let them down, because the customer becomes the cause of frustration with loved ones because they potentially hired the wrong person. So the pendulum can swing way in the other direction, and you and your business will feel the wrath of that. So this is your new mantra, and you can repeat after me. The customer is the hero. All right. So who is a hero? The customer. So like, for example, in this photo, look at the way the wife is looking at him. That's a happy wife. And you all know what they say about that. Okay. Or this guy, he's not the hero. If you have hero shots of your technicians on your website, I recommend taking that stuff off. The guy and this looks like obviously probably did some push-ups before the shot, but also he is not the hero. Okay, you are not the hero of the story, the customer is. So another way to look at it is that you are Yoda, or the guide, and the customer is Luke Skywalker, the hero of the story. Okay, this is a concept that's explained really well in the book Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. By the way, if you join the community, every once in a while I'll be dropping a book name that I think is extremely relevant to our industry. Anyway, this is one of the easily the top sales and marketing books I've ever read. It's an easy read, and he dives into the psychology of storytelling and how the concept can be used in networking, marketing, and in sales. And perhaps the biggest message from the book is that you need to make the customer the hero of the Christmas light story. Not you, but the customer. So check that one out. Have you ever heard of the rule of 27? There was a study 20 years ago that found to gain just one good impression in the mind of your customer, you have to place an ad 3 different times, because the chance of your target absorbing any ad is just 1 out of 3. Another very interesting component of the study indicated that to be able to really lock the brand into the mind of your customer, they have to receive that good impression 9 times. When you do the math, 9 times 3 equals 27. That's where the name marketing rule of 27, that is, come from. This means from an advertising perspective, you have to ensure your message is presented 27 times so it will resonate and be retained by a potential customer. This concept is used to highlight the importance of repeat brand visibility through yard signs, wrap trucks, direct mail, and digital ads. These are especially effective in local seasonal markets like Christmas light installation. If your marketing budget is limited, you can focus your efforts on a smaller area rather than spreading it thin across a large area. For example, just target one neighborhood, park a truck at the entrance to that neighborhood, decorate a tree or home at the entrance in exchange for displaying maybe a lawn sign. Door knock the neighborhood. Set your digital advertising to target that neighborhood. The goal here is to build trust. If potential customers see your branding 27 times, they are far more likely to contact you and trust your service when they're ready to make a purchase. So I've tried to close sales over email and phone before, and the results were honestly terrible. We wasted 6 figures on digital advertising, getting clients on the line, trying to close over email or phone just to have them say it's too expensive or go silent. This is very much a visual business on people's prized possessions at an important time of year. You have to do in-person consultations to demonstrate your value propositions. So grab our display case. If you don't have one of those already, you can get them from our store. Get a tablet loaded with your best photos. And if you don't have those photos yet, they will be available on our community pretty shortly here as well. Arrive on time in a clean and professional vehicle, professionally dressed, of course, and start connecting the dots for the customer. Make sure those dots connect in such a way that they lead to their desired outcome in the most simple way possible. The best way to learn the outcome that they seek is just ask the right questions. Don't be asking questions like you can ask these questions, but don't ask just the questions like what tree, front, back, and side of the house, or what color. You need to additionally ask questions like, what does Christmas mean to you? Anything special happening this Christmas in particular? Present professional photos that match what they are seeking so that you can visualize it or that they can visualize it. If the photos are really good, they may even start to be able to sample that same feeling they will get. Show them the lights that will help achieve those feelings and explain how the service works in 10 seconds or less. And quote it on the spot, then collect a deposit in the same visit while the emotions are still high. Triggers for commercial buyers are a bit different. They care about community impact, visitor attraction, brand image, employee morale, and unique experiences. A lot of it is about the Instagram moment. It's more than decor. Sell the creation of a landmark or event instead. Some already understand how Christmas lights drive foot traffic because people want to snap photos and share those photos. But there are some that don't understand this yet. So you need to make sure that you educate them with examples. You can do a case study that explains how, for example, a mall with an immersive illuminated sculpture saw 30% more visitors social media tags after the installation. Connect the dots that lead to increased foot traffic, tenant retention, positive PR, and community pride. You can also name drop major installs that become destinations and advertise these on your website. Trust is one of the biggest value propositions for commercial, often more important than price. They'll gladly spend more if you have a reputation for delivering, and reputation is everything. And not just delivering or satisfying customers, but actually delighting customers. Delight leads to trust. I hired a property manager. This is a story. I hired a property manager several years ago for a short-term rental property. And I don't remember how much we paid them, but I know it was more expensive than the previous one. And I do remember the experience from the first call to the eventual listing. I felt very good after the walkthrough meeting, and I was confident they could deliver the property to the short-term rental market in the best light. I trusted them. And sure enough, the first season working with them, we had outstanding occupancy and great reviews. Jeff Bezos is a great example. The guy 20 years ago had a very, very, very small business. But he set out every day to delight his customers with fast delivery times, low prices, and whatever it took. The guy doesn't quit because even today, he's thinking about how to delight his customers. So you will succeed if you have delighted customers. So don't settle for satisfied. Leave the person thinking, I've never had a better experience with a human being, and they'll be back. Not only that, they're going to talk, and you want them out there as salespeople for you because trust travels the fastest with referrals, much faster than what people think. The same can be said for the other side of the coin. If you deliver a bad experience, that often travels even faster. So don't just satisfy, but instead delight your customers. So we've discussed the triggers. Now let's list some strategies to address them. First one is speed to lead. Respond to leads within minutes because emotions fade fast. Slow response times mean lost sales. There are AI text messaging platforms out there now that will carry a full conversation while you're busy at a job site. Like if you miss the call, it automatically texts the person back, and you can set cues to jump in and take over the conversation anytime for a personal response. They are well worth the spend and are only getting smarter. Multi-touch follow-ups, call, text, email, and repeat this over several days. The buying window is small. Again, this can be automated with AI. in the workflow. Scarcity and urgency. Say the calendar is filling up, inventory is limited, offer early booking perks, they all add urgency. Social proof and referrals. Share photos and testimonials and offer perks for referrals. These help prospective buyers feel safer emotionally. One of the most underused sales strategies is simply just asking for referrals. If you want more business, just ask for it. You don't even need to have done the job yet. If you've just won the job at this point, ask, hey, do you know 3 others who would benefit from the same service? They'll start thinking about their neighbor, brother-in-law, or work colleague. Then you'll say, great, here's my cell phone number. Would you mind texting them a 3-way conversation right now? And I'll respond as soon as I'm back in the truck. It would be amazing if you could help them look as magical as your home will become. So you see what I did there? I gave them actually another opportunity to be the hero one more time. Consultative selling, again, ask why. Truly listen. Always match solutions to the emotional driver. In this case, it's usually family, pride, business branding, etc. I love this quote. Good salespeople sell features. Great salespeople sell outcomes, and remarkable salespeople sell feelings. And feelings in the Christmas lights industry are based on 2 things: a look and a convenience. So how do you sell a look? Well, the easiest way to do that is through photos. How do you sell a convenience? By presenting a simple and clear process. There's really only one goal at every customer interaction. Leave them feeling better. If they feel better, there will be another meeting. And people don't remember what it is that you say. They remember how you make them feel. So keep that in mind with every meeting or consultation you have. Now let's discuss turning emotion into higher revenue. I like to ask them to imagine. Examples: imagine lights that you can control the color with on your phone. Or imagine roofline lights that function as pot lights, security lights, and holiday lights. Or imagine lights that can help celebrate all of life's special moments. Or imagine using the same lights to celebrate your favorite sports teams. Or imagine what this tree would look like from your dining table, or what your neighbors will say, or imagine what your kids will say. It's a really powerful word to include in your discussions. You can also use FOMO, or fear of missing out. For example, you have a neighbor on Johnson Street that we just decorated. You should check it out tonight. And then you can also present value. And an example could be the permanent lights pay off after 6 years when compared to installing lights seasonally. How long do you plan on being here? And of course, if they think they're going to be there longer than 6 years, then they might start thinking about permanent lights. Is there another example? Which of these 2 styles do you like more? And you can show photos of canopy wrap versus branch wrap. Often they choose the higher ticket branch wrap on the lower right there. Or would you enjoy this branch wrap style year round? We have a stretchable version that grows up to 20% with your tree, so it won't scar or kill the tree. Here's a sample, and you can show them a string to see how it works. Okay, so these are just some examples of how to upsell them on a more premium product and potentially more premium experience as well. So it doesn't always work, at least right away. let's discuss the closing of the emotional sale. You should anticipate price hesitation. And if you do, bring it back to the result. Talk about the 5-year warranty, that they won't be on the ladder this season. Use the imagine phrases that I just spoke about that include joy, memories, community engagement. Anticipate deflection. Don't fall for the, can I get your card instead? Or I'll need to check with my wife or husband. I always get that one. Those can be replied with, sorry, I just gave away my last card. Our calendar is filling up quickly, especially this time of year. I hate for you to miss your preferred dates. Would it make sense to reserve the spot now with no obligation? And if you change your mind, you can always cancel. Or would it be helpful if we set up a quick call or meeting when you're both available? That way, I can answer any questions right away and you don't miss out on your preferred dates. The other one to address is safety and reliability. You can tie technical competence to emotional peace of mind. So, for example, we're fully insured, or we've successfully installed many projects exactly like this. Listen and match stories. So, for example, another client felt the same, then they saw this happen, and you can explain the story. Or, do you know Martha from Whoville BIA? She was concerned with about the same thing. I'd be happy to put the two of you in touch. For commercial, really stress professionalism, insurance, minimizing disruption, and adding to brand cachet. So to recap here, emotional buying is the foundation for winning and retaining Christmas light clients. This applies to both residential and commercial. And I encourage you to have a look at our March session where we go deeper into commercial sales and break the customers down into several personas. And then we discuss their unique motivations. And I can post a link to that strategy session in the community right after this call. So sell the magic, not the materials. People don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. And what do we want to make them feel like? The hero. So be curious, be empathetic, be visual, and find out exactly what being a holiday lighting hero means to them. Normally, I would take questions at this point, but I first want to ask you a question, and you can comment. I think you can comment in here, I hope. What emotional drivers do your best clients have? What stories can you share from your business about these clients? Does anybody have any stories? Let's see here.
I don't see any questions here, but I actually had a question about an objection and how you might handle it.
Sure.
How would you, have you ever gotten, we're thinking about it this year, but we might save it off for next year. There's not a lot of urgency there. So I'm curious how you build that for the customer.
Yeah, the putting off to next year, that's a really common one. So the best way to address that is to get your foot in the door. It could be a budget issue. And you can say, you know what if we just did this one tree at the entrance? or maybe just the lower roof line instead of the upper roof line. Just find something that you can actually get your foot in the door and demonstrate them the magic of Christmas lights. And a lot of times, if you decorate just one tree, like say pick a beautiful Japanese maple or something next to the front entrance, put a trunk and branch wrap on, it looks amazing. They quite often they'll call back and say, hey, actually, can you do these other trees as well? That happens a lot, even on commercial properties where we've, it's a fairly large ticket project and they say they don't have the budget for it this year, and be like, well, okay, what if we just did this one area really well for you? And then it looks great. And then sure enough, they call back a few weeks later and want to do a whole bunch of more work. And I can't tell you how many times that has happened before. Just get your foot in the door. Christmas lights is unique. It's such a very creative industry that you can really design the project to meet any budget. And you just need to break that seal. And once you're in, it will usually transpire into more work with that particular customer.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Okay, if there's no other questions, the next session we've got is on June 23rd. We'll be talking about the biggest debate in Christmas lights, rent versus buying, or leasing versus buying Christmas lights. And we'll talk about some of the considerations when choosing the right model for your particular business. Excellent. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. And as always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask in the community. You can email me directly, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.